To the English box. Today I'm going to talk about the modal verb can. Now can be used in a variety of different situations. We can use it to express ability and inability. We can use it to express permission and prohibition. And we can also use it to express possibility and impossibility. So let's first of all look at ability and inability. For example, you can play the piano really well. Here we could also say you know how to play the piano really well, or you're able to play the piano really well. For permission and prohibition, can I go out with Alice this evening? Here we could say, am I allowed to go out with Alice? Or may I go out with Alice this evening? And finally, for possibility and impossibility, we can meet this evening if you like. You could also say, it's possible for me to meet you this evening. Now can is a modal verb, and this means that it has no regular past or future form. For example, in the past we use could, or the past form of to be able to, and in the future we can use can, or the future form of to be able to. The form that we use depends on what we want to express. For example, if we're talking about ability or inability, we can use able to in the past and in the future, or could in the past and can in the future. If we're talking about permission and prohibition, however, we normally use could or can, or to be allowed to. For example, for ability, I couldn't speak any French last year, or I wasn't able to speak any French last year. Now I can speak some French, or I'm able to speak some French, and next year I'll be able to speak French quite well. However, for permission, I couldn't or I wasn't allowed to go out last night. I can or I'm allowed to go out tonight, and I can or I'll be allowed to go out next Saturday. For possibility and impossibility, it's very similar to ability and inability. Now, as I mentioned before, we can use could as the past form of can. However, could is also the conditional form of can, and we can use could in a number of different situations. Firstly, to express possibility in the same way that we use may or might, or perhaps or maybe as well. He could be our new colleague, or he might or he may be our new colleague. A kind of 50 or 60% chance. We can also use it to make a polite request. Could you pass the butter, please? Or would you mind passing the butter, please? And finally, we can use it for a suggestion or a recommendation. So a friend is visiting the city and I say, you could visit the cathedral, it's beautiful. The same as saying I recommend or I suggest visiting the cathedral because it's beautiful. Now I've highlighted the deduction, he could be our new colleague, because in the past it takes a slightly different form. We use the modal verb could plus the present perfect. So the past form of he could be our new colleague would be he could have been our new colleague. And the past form of he could try harder would be he could have tried harder. So here we're talking about a 50 or 60% chance. If we want to talk about a 0% chance, we use can't. He can't be our new colleague. He's only 5 years old. He can't have been our new colleague in the past. And he can't try harder. He tried his hardest. He can't have tried harder in the past. Okay, that brings us to the end of the video. I hope you've learned lots about can and could. If you'd like to subscribe, then click the big fat subscribe button. And if you'd like to watch related videos on the modal verbs must and should and the auxiliary verb have, then click on the respective panels. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.